Tonight on the South Today, the regions join with the rest of the Commonwealth in mourning the sudden death of Queen Elizabeth II. Another milestone for the new Dunedin Hospital build as the first load of concrete is poured this week. And Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern is in Dunedin, recognising this year's Class Act Awards winners. Kia ora, good evening. I'm Hannah Wilkins. The city, country and the entire Commonwealth is in mourning after the sudden death of Her Royal Highness Queen Elizabeth II. The news broke around 5:30 this morning, New Zealand time.
The Queen is dead, long live the King. Words many broadcasters never thought they'd write or say until this morning. Queen Elizabeth II died peacefully in her sleep at Balmoral. Her death comes 70 years after she first ascended to the British throne in 1952. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern among the world leaders expressing condolences to the royal family.
I know I speak for all New Zealanders in conveying our deepest sympathy to members of the royal family and condolences to King Charles III on behalf of the government and New Zealanders at this time of enormous loss.
Flags on civic buildings flew at half-mast around the country as a sign of respect for the Queen's passing. New Zealand monarchists and royal watchers say Her Royal Highness was a great leader for the Commonwealth.
I felt last night that the Queen was dying. Her hand with the bruise showed that she was in a precarious state.
Her Majesty the Queen was a towering presence within the Anglican Church worldwide and of course throughout the Commonwealth.
In Invercargill, Mayor Tim Shadbolt laid a wreath at the city's Botanic Gardens, and condolence books have been opened at civic centres and libraries across the country. Dunedin Mayor Aaron Hawkins among local leaders paying their respects to the late monarch.
Queen Elizabeth II, the only head of state I and indeed many of us have ever known, and that's certainly a significant day here in Aotearoa, New Zealand.
Mayor Hawkins says Her Majesty's passing is incredibly sad and surreal news to wake up to this morning. Queen Elizabeth II will lie in state over the next 4 days. After that, King Charles III, the wider family and dignitaries will pay their respects before the doors of Westminster Hall will open to hundreds of thousands of people queued up outside. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Residents near the Brighton area will soon be living alongside a new landfill. The Dunedin City Council had its application to operate a city landfill at Smooth Hill granted. An independent consent hearing commission has approved the Dunedin City Council's resource consent application to operate a new city landfill at Smooth Hill. It's estimated the current Green Island landfill could take waste for another 8 years, with the facility closed after that. The consent process hasn't been smooth sailing, with nearby residents and the Otago Regional Council voicing concerns over the chosen location. But City Council Chief Executive Sandy Graham says the council's refined its plans and conditions following public submissions and the hearing process. Progress for the new Dunedin Hospital build is looking solid. The first load of concrete was poured this week, marking another milestone for the hospital. But there's still more work to be done.
Forming the foundation of the new hospital, contractors are filling 78 of these steel casings with concrete, creating the base for the new Dunedin Hospital outpatient building. The workers have spent the last 2 to 3 months driving the casings into the site.
A pretty exciting day here, a bit of a milestone as we start to pour the first of the concrete foundations for the new Dunedin Hospital. We expect to pour somewhere around 700 cubes of concrete into the 78 steel tube casings that we've driven.
Dunedin Mayor Aaron Hawkins has written to Health Minister Andrew Little, seeking assurances around the hospital build. During her visit to Dunedin, Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern says supply constraints are affecting the hospital build like other projects around the world.
Everyone is looking at whether or not they're managing to stay within budget or in time frames because of the supply constraints we've had. So that's not unique to this project or to New Zealand.
Contractors are continuing to work on the foundations over the coming weeks. In Dunedin, the South Today.
The issue of suicide is one that's been highlighted recently, particularly with people feeling more isolated and vulnerable during the COVID-19 pandemic, with more than 600 people taking their lives in New Zealand last year. World Suicide Prevention Day is observed around the world on September the 10th. In Dunedin, the Life Matters Suicide Prevention Trust is holding its 9th annual event this Saturday. Knox Church will be the venue for this year's event, which aims to shed light on the issue. Life Matters founder Corinda Taylor says observing this important day is a way of raising awareness of suicide prevention. The event will feature inspirational speakers and musical performances, including St Hilda's Kapa Haka Group and Jackson Kane. Taylor says people will be surrounded by love and support on the day as they take time to remember loved ones and support others with kindness and empathy. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern says she thought briefly about just rolling out the same old speech from previous years at the annual Class Act Awards in Dunedin. However, she decided this year's recipients at the Otago Daily Times sponsored event deserved special recognition.
High school students who are a cut above the rest. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern leading the dignitaries, paying tribute to this year's Otago Daily Times Class Act Award recipients in Dunedin.
I actually wanted to speak directly to the experiences of this moment in time. And it'll be abundantly clear to everyone in this room that by virtue of the time in which you're receiving these awards, that in itself tells us that you have achieved great things despite significant odds.
Speaking at yesterday's awards ceremony, she says the 56 pupils from 28 Otago schools have exceeded expectations of their local schools and communities. Proud parents, principals and guests watched on as the hard work of the pupils was acknowledged at the Dunedin Public Art Gallery. Many previous Class Act Award winners have gone on to achieve highly in areas including business, academia, arts and culture and sports. In Dunedin, the South Today.
The current title holder of the Dunedin Marathon, Jonas Smith, is getting ready to defend his #1 spot. He'll join hundreds of competitors competing in this Sunday's event, although his training may differ from many.
Jogging along his rural racetrack, Jonas Smith is getting a last-minute run-in before defending his title in the Emerson's Dunedin Marathon this weekend. Smith won the last marathon in 2019 with a time of 2 hours and 33 minutes, but is hoping to close in on his best time.
But yeah, I'm still pretty optimistic. I was in fairly good form last year, so hopefully a bit of that fitness is in the legs and we'll sort of see how we go.
The Dunedin Marathon attracts hundreds of competitors. COVID-19 forced the popular event to be cancelled over the past 2 years, but is finally going ahead under the new name of Emerson's Dunedin Marathon. During the marathon's absence, Smith's kept busy breaking records at last year's Run the Runway Challenge. The farm labourer is hoping his day-to-day job will have helped get him fit enough to win again.
I've been working some reasonably long days, but I do get a wee bit of time off. I've got the odd long run in, which is nice on the weekends, and to be fair, the rest of it is probably just running from A to B on the farm when I'm at work.
Competitors in the full marathon will start their run from the Portobello Reserve from 8 on Sunday morning. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Whai Akane, still to come on the South Today. The country's most capped female rugby player announced she's hanging up the boots after the next Rugby World Cup. And Get Your Motor Running, a popular car show prepares to pull a crowd in Dunedin.
Monday, November the 6th, 1995, and a cool, blustery breeze greets Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth and His Royal Highness Prince Philip on their arrival by Royal New Zealand Air Force 727 at Momona, the city of Dunedin's airport.
The Queen came by in a big black car and she was waving to me and I waved back.
We can't tell you what the Queen thought of our children, but they seem very happy to tell us what they thought of her.
She had a pretty hat.
Just get down to John's this weekend. His catalogue's out now, full of great deals on rock-bottom warehouse price furniture and beds. Plus, pay it off over 18 months interest-free.
And my mate John.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Evening, I'm from the Parks Department. Have you got a permit for that fire?
Tēnā koe, welcome back. The country's most capped female rugby player, Kendra Cocksedge, has announced she'll retire from all rugby following this year's Rugby World Cup. The multi-record holder wants to leave the game on a winning note and is hoping to lead her Canterbury side to victory this weekend in the final of Farah Palmer Cup.
Canterbury and Black Ferns halfback Kendra Cocksedge is calling time on a glittering 16-year career. The 2015 International Women's Player of the Year has announced she'll hang up her boots at the end of the Rugby World Cup in November. But the 34-year-old still has work to do before then. She's preparing to make her 100th and final appearance for her chosen province on Saturday, when an unbeaten Canterbury team host Auckland in the Farah Palmer Cup Premiership final at Rugby Park.
And today I woke up and I was like, oh my gosh, this is my last Farah Palmer Cup training ever as a player. And so there's small little things, but I'm just trying to embrace it and enjoy it. And even in the gym this week, I said to the girls, all right, this is my last week, you know, with Farah Palmer Cup, I'm choosing the music.
But Cocksedge is expected to be named in the New Zealand World Cup squad, to be announced next week.
There's a lot for the team to get up for, and we just hope we find that little bit extra in the weekend. And we love playing here at Rugby Park.
She says she's excited about the future of women's rugby and is ready to hand over the reins to a new generation of players. In Christchurch, the South today.
The popular annual Dunedin Auto Spectacular car show is adding another attraction this year at the Edgar Centre. After a few years of disruption due to COVID-19, an associated event called the Dunedin Darlin Pin-Up Pageant is finally all geared to go. Stepping out of a classic car, Kerry Lee Bray is looking forward to seeing what other local women will wear to enter the Dunedin Darlin Pin-Up Pageant. The event's part of the Dunedin Auto Spectacular weekend and promises to add another glamorous facet to the long-running car show.
It's an opportunity for people to get out, dress in, I guess, period costume, if that's what you want to say. For some of us, we live this life all the time. And just show off what they've got. It's a bit of fun, make lots of friends, really inclusive environment, and some really cool prizes up for grabs.
Contestants strutting in their 1940s, 50s or 60s outfits could win a photo shoot with a classic car. Judges include 2022 Miss Pin-Up New Zealand winners and a Dunedin burlesque artist. More than 340 vehicles will be on display at this year's show, ranging from an impressive Ferrari to a 1956 Hillman California convertible and a number of electric cars. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. Flags were lowered to half-mast and condolence books opened as the country mourns the death of Queen Elizabeth II. Another milestone passed for the new Dunedin Hospital build, with the first load of concrete poured this week. And runner Jonas Smith is busy training on the farm as he prepares to defend his Dunedin Marathon title this Sunday. And now a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT, and we welcome the Associate Editor, Joe Simpson. Kia ora, Joe.
Kia ora.
What can we expect in the weekend paper?
We have a special edition dedicated to the Queen with a special lift-out tribute for the first of her 10 visits to New Zealand in 1953.
Wow, lovely.
And the Smooth Hill dump has been approved by commissioners with a raft of conditions, and then we have some interesting things in our court pages too.
Brilliant. Oh, we look forward to it. Thank you for your time this evening, Joe.
Thank you.
And time now for a look at the weather.
The South Today weather, proudly brought to you by MoleMap, the skin cancer detection specialists.
Looking at the situation, a fine weekend ahead with a mix of sunny periods and some cloud, and temperatures becoming milder on Sunday. Colder southerly airflow and some rain will arrive on Monday. Heading to the top of the South Island, while some cloud and light nor'easterly winds up through here tomorrow. 14s all around for Nelson, Greymouth and Christchurch. Travelling to South Canterbury and North Otago, light east to northeast winds with a bit of cloud as we make our way down the coast here. Ashburton and Awamaru head for 14, while Timaru's a touch warmer with a high of 15 degrees. Westwards now to the Central Lakes. A spot of fog and light winds are on the way for the weekend. Wanaka and Alex get up to 14, while Queenstown's high will be 13 and fine. Heading further south, fine with light winds. Balclutha heads for 14 on Saturday, 13 for Gore, and the same in the Catlins with some cloud. Now down to the deep south. Fine and frosty tonight in Invercargill, down to 0. Then it's mostly fine and sunny with light winds for the next 2 days. Expect 14 on Saturday and warmer on Sunday with a high of 16. And lastly, heading to Dunedin. Cold and foggy tonight with a low of 4. Saturday, fine with low cloud and fog before a sunny day with easterlies and a high of 14. Into Sunday, will the nor'easterlies pick up, the cloud thickens up, but still some glimmers of sunshine to wrap up the weekend with a high of 13 degrees. And that's the news this Friday. For the latest news and videos from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz. And you can follow Channel 39 on YouTube to catch our news bulletins on demand. And don't forget, at 8 p.m. tonight, Channel 39 will be playing a special program covering Queen Elizabeth II's last visit to Dunedin alongside Prince Philip back in 1995. We'll see you again next week. Mā te wā.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.